Hello again, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Tom Nelson, and this again is a continuation of the Diabetes Control 6 Steps to Gaining Complete Control Over Diabetes course. This is video lesson number 7, step number 3 of the 6 steps, and this is part 1, changing the diet. Now, this video is going to cover what you should and what you should not eat. First, what you should not eat. Let's start with things like high glycemic index foods. Those are things like white potatoes, short grain rice, sticky rice, sweet potatoes, and especially wheat, just to name a few. High glycemic index foods, recall, are going to double the amount of glucose that enters your bloodstream, and it's going to double the amount that it's going to raise your blood sugars. So avoid all high glycemic index foods. Avoid all GMOs. Avoid all processed foods. We've harped on this again and again, but it's that important. Read the labels on everything in a box, bag, can, or a bottle to make absolutely certain that it does not have any chemical additives in it. And it's becoming more important to read the label because now a lot of organic and non-GMO foods are being put in boxes, bags, cans, and bottles. So foods that are detrimental to your blood type should be avoided. That you can watch. There's a complete video lesson series on that alone. It's very important and you should watch it. Wheat, corn, soy, pork, dairy, margarine should be avoided completely. Grain-fed meat products and saturated animal fats should be completely replaced with grass-fed if you can find them. There are starting to be more and more places that are selling it in response to the demand for it. Farm-raised fish should never ever be eaten. They're raised in shallow ponds, warm water. They swim in their own waste products. They're fed corn, wheat, and soy instead of their normal diet. And so consequently, they have absolutely no nutritional value whatsoever. So read the label. It will tell you if it's wild caught or if it's farm raised. Sodas, colas, alcohol, artificial sweeteners, aspartame, and Splenda, and caffeine should also be completely eliminated. For caffeine, focus on green tea. That's the only real exception. So what should you eat? You should eat low glycemic index foods, which means you're talking mostly about a wide variety of fresh vegetables. Frozen are actually even better. They actually are more nutritious than even farmers market in many cases, because if it's been out in the weather for any amount of time, it can lose nutrients. But frozen now are flash frozen, and all of the nutrients are locked in very shortly after being harvested. So organic fruits and vegetables should be eaten. Consider frozen again, organic, but they look for labels that are organic and non-GMO. Onions and garlic, can't say enough about them. They are sulfur-based. So both of those, when you cut them up, you release chemicals that mix together and produce the very, very powerful beneficial substances, like for garlic, it's allicin, which once it gets into your system is a very, very powerful and very, very beneficial substance for you to eat. You should eat as many, preferably raw garlic and onions as you can. I know it's difficult for some people, but you should work at it, or at least mix it raw in with other things to help mask the very strong flavor. A healthy fat source should be consumed every single day. We're going to cover that in great detail in this series. Eggs should be range-fed. If you can buy them that way, they're starting to be found everywhere. They are lower in cholesterol. They are actually much, much healthier and much, much more nutritious. A healthy fat source, again, we're going to cover in this series. Legumes are very excellent. They're an excellent source for not only soluble but insoluble fiber as well. But one word of caution. If you're still working on step number 1, which could take a year or more, to restore your leaky gut to healthy position and to restore the balance of the bacteria in your intestines, then you probably are going to want to avoid eating legumes, which are beans, for a while, because their lectins are very aggressive. It's very much like wheat lectins, and they will continue to irritate your intestines and slow your progress in resolving it. So peppers of all kinds, especially the hot peppers, if you can stand them, are very, very healthy. Grains should probably be limited pretty much to things like oats and extra grain long rice, but you should check both of these because not all diabetics can use oats like in oatmeal or extra long grain rice. Some respond with high blood sugars. So test it to see how it reacts in your body and then work accordingly. Spices of any kind are always very, very good. Problem is we don't use enough of them. Raw foods. If you can, eat 51% of your diet every day raw. That means eating a lot of salads with raw vegetables like cucumbers, radishes, broccoli, spinach, or others that are cut up and used on the salad. And if the more of that you can eat, the better off you're going to be. It reduces the AGEs, which is covered in another video, which are very damaging, but it also keeps your immune system from causing inflammation. Cook your food at lower temperatures. Always cook your food in a wet process, which means steam, crock pot, pressure cooking, or boiling. But if you boil your food, make certain that you drink the fluids that it was boiled in, because those water-soluble vitamins are going to come out of that food into the water. So if you dump the water out before you eat the food, then you're dumping out all the vitamins. So usually the best way then if you're boiling is make it a soup or a stew where the water is an important part of the recipe. Again, overcooking food should always be avoided. Minimize your cooking temperatures. Never broil, fry, or grill. Those temperatures go well over 300 degrees, and you are going to produce a massive amount of those type B LDL cholesterol particles. Steam, boil, pressure cook, crock pot, stir fry is okay depending on the type of oil used. Baking is a dry form of heat. It's the lesser of the better ways, but keep the temperatures low. Usually when you bake, you may use a 300 or 350 degree baking temperature, but the internal temperature of the food rarely goes above 200. So temperatures above 110 degrees Fahrenheit are going to destroy the nutrients and the living enzymes that are in the food, and it's altering the chemistry of the food as well, which, remember, your antigens. Every cell in your body has those little antennas that reach out into the bloodstream, and when you eat foods that have been cooked above 110, the higher the temperature, the more damage is done. Then a certain amount of that food, depending on the temperature, up to all of that food, if it's high temperatures, are going to be rejected by your antigens, and your immune system is going to get involved, and you're going to cause inflammation, even if you're eating good quality broccoli or spinach or some other very healthy form of vegetable. So keep the temperatures as low as possible, but of course make certain that you don't expose yourself to E. coli. It's going to take a little bit of thinking. Wash your fresh foods very thoroughly before you cook them. Microwaving is acceptable as long as you don't overcook them, go too long. So temperatures, again, over 300 are going to cause all of the cholesterol to become that type B LDL cholesterol, which is so very, very serious and damaging and dangerous. There's a series just on resolving cholesterol issues naturally, which will explain all of that. So now proceed to lesson number 7, part number 2. You're going to get into the meal planning guide. So thank you for taking the time to watch this. Please pay it forward. Thank you very much.